What's up, everybody? Welcome back to No Counters, No Combos. And I just want to start off this video by wishing all of you dads out there a happy Father's Day. I know I had a good one myself, and I hope that you who are fathers out there enjoyed your day with your children, with your families. You know, for those of you who aren't fathers yet, I hope you spend time with your dads out there. And you know, it's a really special day. It kind of makes you feel really good when you know that what you're doing is the right thing as far as raising your kids and being there for them and always being present in their life. And it just feels good when you wake up to two little kids screaming Happy Father's Day in your face. So I just want to get that out of the way. Thank you, all the dads out there. Thank you to my dad. You know, thank you to everybody out there who's a father and who has an impact on their child's life. So thank you again. Now, even though it was Father's Day over the weekend, which is primarily a day that's shrouded in positivity and family relation and, you know, just all around good fun, there was a couple, you know, negative moments that happened over the weekend, especially, you know, in relation to the Dragon Ball community on Facebook. Now, if you guys haven't heard already, Anthony Hernandez was banned from the Dragon Ball community discussion group on Facebook. Everybody's kind of been chiming in, and giving their 2 cents about it. I mean, and I kind of just want to clear the deck, you know, so to speak. I mean, I don't really normally, you know, do this type of thing, or I really don't normally talk bad about anybody, or, you know, I try not to. I mean, we're all human, but I try not to put it out there so it can be easily either viewed or read or you know, extrapolated upon. But I honestly am kind of torn down the middle. I mean, Anthony Hernandez is a very good player. He has topped multiple events, you know, the big major events. He was able to take first place at the ARG event in Connecticut. It was like the first Team Wars event. And he's a very, very good player. And there's a lot of very, very good players in this community. I consider myself a pretty good player, maybe slightly above decent at this point. But I've never met the guy. I've never met Anthony Hernandez. I've never met Dusty O'Brien. I've never met Matt Combs, or I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce his name. I've never met any of these guys. I can only base my opinion on what I know of them, and that's their posts, their videos, their commentary, their discussions, their chats, you know, so on and so forth. So I kind of don't really know them individually as people, but the majority of the community feels like Anthony Hernandez is, you know, bad for this game. And yeah, some of his comments might be offensive to people. His arrogance might, you know, rub people the wrong way, or his cockiness, you know, might get, you know, kind of blown out of proportion and stuff like that. But it is what it is. I mean, I don't feel like he attacked anybody individually. I don't ever feel like he bashed people verbally. I don't know how to word this. I don't really think he talked massive amounts of crap about individual people. I think when he was making his posts about, you know, being the Dragon Ball God and telling people that they're bad, I think he's just talking about the community in general, which in a way, you know, you kind of don't want that. You kind of don't want somebody to just rip into you and tell you that you're bad or tell you that you're a scrub. Like, I get that. Like, I get, you know, taking people's sensitivity into account. But at the same time, I don't really understand why certain situations get blown out of proportion and certain situations are kind of not expanded upon as opposed to others. Like, I'm not criticizing anybody, or I'm not coming down on anybody individually. I just don't feel like what happened was necessary. I mean, people have personalities and people have egos and people have personas. And I guess you have to understand the individual like on a personal level before you can make the assumption that he's quote unquote cancerous. And by the way, guys, that term cancer, like, I personally don't like that term. I just hate when it's thrown around. Like, cancer is a serious thing, and we probably shouldn't compare it to a card game, but I digress. You know, claiming that somebody's cancerous for a game or that he should be banned, or, you know, these are all opinions, and I don't ever feel like Anthony Hernandez attacked somebody personally. I mean, yes, were his posts arrogant and over the top and, you know, flamboyant? Yes, absolutely. But you, as the individual, have the choice or the option to read his posts or just completely let them go. And yeah, sometimes I would read his posts and sometimes I wouldn't. And most of the time I would, you know, I would walk away from reading one of his posts and be like, wow, this guy's like so cocky and so arrogant. But that's how he is. I would never say that he's a bad person from that, because, you know, there have been instances in my life where I was good at things and I probably was arrogant, you know, whether it was like athletically or something, you know, in my life at some point in time. Everybody has had their niche or their thing that they feel like they're the best at, and people usually get arrogant or overconfident, you know, is the other way to put it, when it comes to something that they feel like they're very good at. And I don't think it's wrong to boast about your abilities, because that's what fuels healthy competition. I mean, there always has to be somebody to knock off their peg. Like, there has to be something that we chase after, just competitively speaking at this point. There always has to be like a best player, and you just have to strive to try to beat that person. Now, if you're playing for fun, or if you're just going to a locals and starting out and you're just playing the game because it's a game at the end of the day, like, I get it, like, I understand. But again, you have the option to not interact with the more competitive side of the game. You know, I've played a lot of TCGs in my life. Yu-Gi-Oh was probably the biggest TCG I played besides Dragon Ball. And it was the same thing with the Yu-Gi-Oh community. People want to protect what they feel they're good at, and they want to have their worth in the community, and they want to have their success translate in the community and be noticed for it. So I don't think Anthony Hernandez is a bad guy. I mean, I don't know him personally, so I can't make any assumption that he's a bad person. I can only go off of what I've seen. And I don't think he ever used any type of racial or, you know, inappropriate wording or terminology that we find offensive. Yeah, it's not cool to tell people that they're bad, but at the same time, I don't think that he's attacking people individually. And, you know, I'm the type of guy that, you know, if somebody calls me bad, okay, you know what? I'm going to accept that. That's your criticism on me, but I'm going to prove you wrong now. It's going to make me want to get out there and prove people wrong about me, because I've been told that I was bad, or I've been called a scrub in the past. And listen, everybody goes through that, you know, but I've just proven people wrong. You know, again, I by no means hold myself to any, you know, standard like the pro players that everybody knows of, you know, in the scene, like the PPG guys, Anthony, Matt, you know, the Kitchen Table Meta guys. Like, I don't compare myself to any of them, because I don't play in the major events as much as they do. I'm only going to like my second or third major event this upcoming weekend in Atlantic City. So I really can't say, oh yeah, I'm better than this guy or I'm better than that guy. I can't. But what I can say is, as a member of the community, the negative, just, you know, bashing or talking smack, like, that's part of competition. Like, yes, I understand it's a children's card game, ages 6+, I get that. But when you take it to the next level and you make it this organically developed competitive scene, you're gonna have trash talk. You're gonna have people saying that they're better than you. That's what brews rivalries. That's what creates a competitive nature. And that's what kind of, you know, philosophically gives you something to play for. You know, because everybody complains about the prize support in this game. What is better than bragging rights? You know, like if somebody was to go and beat like a big player, like, oh, they have that on them, you know, like a loss on the scoreboard lasts forever, basically, you know, like, you know, that you kind of remember that, you know, you remember your losses more than you remember your wins, in my opinion, anyway, you know, as far as like in my experience in life. So like, I just want to, I know I've been going on and ranting and rambling about nothing at this point because what's done is already done, but at the end of the day, we are all a part of the same community, and the success of this game lives and dies with us individually as players, and if we're a part of bigger teams. Like, there's always going to be a competitive nature, there's always going to be egos, there's always going to be drama, there's always going to be stuff like that involved, but you can't let that get the better of you, and you have to take it for what it is at face value. Somebody just talking smack that's all it is. They're just talking smack. They're not threatening your life. They're not, you know, if it gets to that extent, then okay, fine. I completely understand. But, you know, it's all part of the game. And I think that as a society, we have become very okay with mediocrity, and it shows. And I don't mean that in any personal attacks to anybody. I don't mean that in a way of kind of talking down to people. I get, you know, it's all fun and games. I get it. You want people to participate and you want things to grow. But when there's a competitive side of it, you know, winners win and losers lose. And there's nothing in the middle. Like, you know, when I was a kid and I played Pee-wee sports and all that other stuff, like, I never got a participation medal. Or I never got a trophy for trying, you know. The winners got the trophies and the losers went home. But it gave you that hunger, it gave you that drive, it gave you that competitive nature to get better and to get better. And then the next time you got an opportunity to face somebody, you know, you had better results. And that's the whole point of being competitive. Whether it's in a professional sport, whether it's at a children's card game, whether it's at checkers or chess or swimming or whatever it is, competition is competition no matter what. So if you have a problem with competing and you have a problem with egos and over-exaggerations and trash talk, then maybe it's not the scene for you. You got to have a thick skin when it comes to competition, especially with something that people hold dearly. That's the key factor. In a way, competitive players like Anthony Hernandez, competitive players like, you know, Peter Catani and Marcel Russell and all the PPG guys and the Team Bearded guys and the Kitchen Table Meta guys, that's good for the game because they're competitive, but they're also passionate about it. So at the end of the day, you know, those guys are going to go to war for this game. You know, the Anthony Hernandezes, the Matt Combs. Dude, if I'm mispronouncing your name, I'm sorry. The Matthew Combs, the, you know, Pat O'Neill, the people that, you know, make an effort to want and to see the game grow is the people that I want in my corner at the end of the day, because I'm one of those guys that wants this game to grow. I want this game to continue. You know, have there been questionable things as far as cards and effects? Yeah, that's going to happen. You know, politics happen and negative things happen all the time in different communities, whether it's a card game or life in general. So there's really no way of getting around that. We just have to accept the fact that this is a card game and we are the reason that we are is what, I don't know how, I'm afraid I'm losing my words here. We as a community will be the lifeblood of this game. This game lives and dies with us. If people stop playing it, the game will die. If people continue to complain and, you know, stop playing in general, the game will die. And you have every right to do that. You know, if you're not happy with something, then you change something about it to either compensate or you just get out of it completely. So you have every right to not play or to not be a competitive player and just be a casual player. You have every right to do that. But in order for this game to continue to grow, because at the end of the day it is a business, there's going to have to continue to be some type of lust for competition. And I just want to give my 2 cents out there. I don't think anybody in this community wants this game to go away. I don't feel like anybody wants to personally attack people for being quote unquote bad or whatnot. You know, I think in all likelihood it's just competition, and it's just, you know, sportsmanship, so to speak. And I would never verbally bash somebody just because that's not the type of person that I am. I've never really been much of a trash talker, whether I'm good at something or not. I can get a little cocky and I can get a little arrogant, sure, absolutely, but to the opposition, I usually hold myself with a higher respect. And, you know, everything with me is like, you know, shaking hands, good games, stuff like that. I want to try to help people as much as I can. And if I have something to offer you, like if you feel like there's something for you that you can learn from me, that's awesome, you know, great, you know. But again, at the end of the day, if we don't want this game to grow, then it won't. If we don't want this game to continue, then it won't. So I feel bad that things happened the way they did, but, you know, for every action there's a consequence and it has to be followed. And the decisions were made, and there's nothing that we could do about it right now except move on. You know, Anthony Hernandez, if you're watching, you know, congratulations on all your success. I hope I see you in Atlantic City. I would love to pick your brain and have a conversation with you and meet you as a person, because I would never prejudge you from what I see in social media. So that's just not how I am. Matt, from Matthew Combs, if you're watching, same thing. I would love to meet you and pick your brain, because I would never assume something about you as a person without having my own impression off of that individual. So I guess from this video, if anybody just takes any type of, if somebody gets something from this video, I think my whole point is just to support your community as much as you can, because at the end of the day, whether you like somebody or not, this game needs players in order to continue to grow. And if we start losing people that have influence, or if we start losing, you know, interest in this game, it's gonna die. So again, you know, for everybody that celebrated Father's Day this weekend, happy Father's Day. I just wanted to kind of put my 2 cents out there. By no means am I trying to rustle any feathers or bash anybody or, you know, call anybody out. I'm just, you know, expressing how I feel about the situation, and I wish it could have been handled a little better, but the fact of the matter it is, it's over, it's done with, let's move on. Let's move on to bigger and better things. We have an ARG event coming up in Atlantic City, which I'm getting ready for, and if you guys are going to be there, I hope to see you. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for the continuing support. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Let everybody know about this channel, guys. The movement is strong here, and we are trying to grow, and we are trying to become, you know, a conglomerate that nobody could deal with anymore. But, you know, in all seriousness, guys, I wish you guys the best of luck. If you're going to AC, good luck. I hope to see you there. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Be there or be squared.